So seeing as the last ever Harry Potter movie comes out officially in less than a month, I thought this would be an appropriate time for me to tell you a little bit about how Harry Potter fits into my life. I was in year 5 when I first heard of Harry Potter, so maybe about 9 or 10 years old, probably 9. And basically how it happened was that there was a group of girls in my class when I was in year 5, who I wasn't necessarily close to or friends with, who always constantly talked about Harry Potter during our breaks and stuff. And I remember hearing them talk about Harry Potter constantly, and I was just thinking, like, what is Harry Potter? I didn't know at the time what Harry Potter was, or what those words even meant. Until one day, one of them actually brought her book to school and read like a few pages from it during one of our breaks. And that made me realize that it's actually a book. So I went home that day straight to my mom and asked her if she could buy me the Harry Potter books. And it was really interesting actually, because my mom, when I told her that I wanted the Harry Potter books, my mom looked at me and said, "Oh, I've actually heard of them myself. They're quite popular. I've heard like people talking about them and stuff." So she got me the first 2 books, and although it took me quite a while to get into the first one, I soon became hooked and I started to really like them. And then I remember going out with my mom to buy the next 2 books in the series, so Prisoner of Azkaban and Goblet of Fire, and I remember how excited I was to get to read the rest of Harry Potter's adventure. And just like that, I became a Harry Potter fan, I guess. Now, I know there are a lot of people, especially on YouTube, who say that Harry Potter basically changed their lives, or, Harry Potter got them into reading. And although Harry Potter is very dear to me and a big part of my childhood, I wouldn't go as far as saying it changed my life personally. Harry Potter wasn't the first book I read, and like I said, I discovered Harry Potter at the age of like 9 or 10, so obviously I'd read quite a lot of books before that. I will say one thing though about Harry Potter that makes it special, is that basically Harry Potter was the first book that actually made me cry. I'd read sad books before Harry Potter before, obviously, but none of them had ever made me cry. But when I read Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, and I must have been about 15 when I read that, basically when Dumbledore dies, and I'm sorry if this is a spoiler, I don't really care, you should have read the Harry Potter books by now. Your fault, really. Anyway, when Dumbledore dies, I actually remember like finding myself full on crying, like tears were coming down, and I was actually very surprised. I was quite shocked to see myself crying at a book, because that had never happened before. And I was just like, wow. And to be honest, this just shows how amazing and great the books are, to be able to bring out these emotions in you when you're reading them, especially as a teenager, because I was 15 when I read them. But yeah, like I said, I never really was into the whole Harry Potter fandom thing. I never really went on YouTube to search for like Harry Potter music or Wizard Rock or whatever. I never really felt the need to collect every Harry Potter thing that I found, although I did have quite a lot of Harry Potter stuff when I was little. And I'm sure I still do have them somewhere. I actually used to have a Hermione doll, which I really liked. I got that when I was about 11 or something. I also had a Harry Potter diary, or a journal or whatever, and I used to write in that quite a lot for like a year, over a year, like regularly about my life and stuff. And that's definitely somewhere. It's probably in Austria. It'll be quite interesting to like go back and look at what I've written in that book actually, because it was a long time ago. But yeah, for me, Harry Potter is just a series of books that made my childhood magical. That's all there is to it, really. It's not going any further than that. It's not something that I think about every day. It never was something that I thought about every day. I mean, maybe when I read the books for the first time, when I was actually in the process of reading them, yeah, maybe at the time I thought about them every day when I woke up, but I never really was obsessed with Harry Potter or anything. So yeah, fun fact for you, I actually read the first 4 Harry Potter books in Iranian or Persian, because I was living in Iran at the time, and the Harry Potter books were available in Iranian only in Iran, and so yeah, I had no other choice basically. But I read the other 3 in English, the last 3 in English, and then I went back and read the first 4 in English as well, because it's always good to read them in the original language. Anyway, here's a fun memory that I think it'd be cool to share. I was reading Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, and this is when I was about 10, and it was late at night, so like 9 or 10 p.m, because when you're a child, 9 or 10 p.m. is considered very late. Anyway, me and my brother, who's like 3 years younger than me, were sat there in the living room. I was reading, and he was just like sat there doing whatever. And I suddenly looked up to him and went, "The Chamber of Secrets has been opened," with like a big shock on my face. And to this day, my brother still reminds me of how much I scared him that night because of my shocked expression when I looked at him. I didn't intentionally try to scare him or anything. I think it was just, I was reading and I was really into the book, and I was so shocked when I read that, the chamber had been opened, and I wanted to share it with someone, so I just had to say it to like, share my genuine shock. And because I was so shocked and like my face looked so shocked, I think that just freaked him out a bit. And you can't really blame him. He was like 7 at the time, and he'd never read the Harry Potter books at the time, although he'd heard of me speaking about the Harry Potter books obviously a lot. And yeah, a couple of years later, I actually managed to get my brother to read the books. I think it was a combination of, me going on about Harry Potter all the time, and also the first 2 movies were out by that time, and so he'd watched the movies and he'd liked them, so he just was interested to kind of read the books. And so I let him borrow my books, and he read like the first 3 or 4 books using my copies, and then he got into them as well, so he got his own copies afterwards, which is great. Which brings me to the movies, actually. I try and keep the movies and the books completely separate. In fact, I choose not to reread books right before the movies are released. I know a lot of people like rereading the books just to kind of like refresh their memories and stuff, but I think it's better not to reread them, because if you reread the books right before the movies are released, you know how detailed and beautiful the books actually are, and that just leads to disappointment, I think, because you just keep comparing the movie to the book all the time, and I don't want that to happen, personally. And you can't really expect the movies to ever be as detailed as the books, so yeah, I just prefer not to reread them. And the thing with me is, I just prefer books to movies in general. I mean, it doesn't have to have anything to do with Harry Potter. I just prefer books, full stop. I just prefer books to movies. Like, if I have a bit of spare time, I'd rather read a book than watch a movie or a film or whatever. So yeah, obviously I prefer the books, but I do still like the movies as well for what they are. But yeah, some of the movies do annoy me. For example, Prisoner of Azkaban. For me, I think that's the worst Harry Potter movie ever made. It's my least favourite anyway. And it's really annoying because Prisoner of Azkaban was actually my favourite book for a long time until Half-Blood Prince came out. So I was really looking forward to, the Prisoner of Azkaban movie. But when it came out, I was so disappointed, and I thought they did a really crap job at making it, to be honest. I'm sorry if you like it. I just didn't like that movie. But yeah, in general, I try to enjoy the movies. Obviously, they can't make them as good as the books, so, there's no point trying to be like, oh my god, why did they leave that out, or whatever. I just think you have to just try and enjoy them for what it is, and that's what I try to do. And I am very excited about the last movie coming out next month, although in a weird way I'm not, because it is the last movie, and it's going to be weird to not have any more Harry Potter books or movies to look forward to anymore, because Harry Potter has been a big part of my childhood, I guess. But yeah, that's all I have to say, really. If you want, you can leave comments letting me know what your favourite Harry Potter book or Harry Potter movie is. Or maybe you can tell me how much Harry Potter means to you. I think that would be a good question to answer if you want. Otherwise, I just hope you have a great day, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.